Thousands of people lined up today in Houston to pay their respects to George Floyd. Many people waited for hours in line before being let in, wearing masks and socially distanced. Our Marcus Moore was there and has more.
2 weeks after his death at the hands of police, an emotional farewell for George Floyd in his hometown of Houston. Mourners lining up early this morning to pay their respects, braving extreme Texas heat, but so many telling us they needed to be here.
This man whose death has changed the world, he's changed the world. You have to come. You know, you have to. I can't explain it. Inside the church, social distancing, just 15 people at a time in masks and gloves. For hours, thousands of people of all ages and backgrounds streaming past Floyd's open casket. Many here were strangers to Floyd and those next to them in this line. But today, people like Quinn Richardson and Don Murray are connected in their grief and hope for progress.
But when we see people like Mr. Don here, who said he had to be here too, it makes me proud to say something we're doing, making a lot of noise, we're showing up, and people like him are coming out.
Murray remembers arguing with his father about racism back in the 1950s. All of these decades later, an image of barriers broken. Does this time that we're in right now feel any different than what you saw when you were younger?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this you never would have seen when I was young. Never.
The governor of Texas vowing to work for change with the Floyd family.
This is the most horrific tragedy I've ever personally observed. But George Floyd is going to change the arc of the future of the United States. George Floyd has not died in vain.
Vice President Joe Biden today meeting privately for more than an hour with Floyd's family, seen here with his daughter Gianna. A family attorney tweeting he listened, heard their pain, and shared in their woe. That compassion meant the world to this grieving family. George Floyd's family grateful for the outpouring of support tonight and proud of the man he was.
We all hurting as a family, and the George, we know he's a family man, great man. He stands for the definition of a man because we didn't have no father figure growing up.
In his old neighborhood, a lasting image by the strokes of an artist's brush, symbolizing Floyd's impact on the world, and one of Houston's sons who's finally home.
Marcus, clearly a lot of people showed up who didn't know George Floyd personally. What did they tell you about their rationale for why they felt they needed to be there today?
Well, Lindsay, the people we talked to said they just felt like it was important to be here and to pay their respects. And as you mentioned, they didn't know George Floyd personally. They only heard his name on television. Most of them didn't know him, but they still felt that connection and that this was their opportunity to pay their respects. And we saw people, Lindsay, of all walks of life, black, white, young, old, but someone who really stood out to me today outside the church was a man by the name of Don Murray, and he is a white man who showed up here because he said that it was on his heart. He remembered having arguments with his dad and relatives who he said were racist. And because of that, he wanted to be here, and he hoped that his relatives, his uncles and his sisters would see him at this event, at this service, this emotional service, and that he still has hope that they would learn that racism is wrong. And that was, Lindsay, one person we met that really stuck out to me amidst the thousands who we've seen streaming into the church here in Houston to view George Floyd in this open casket.
What do we know about the funeral schedule for tomorrow?
The funeral, Lindsay, will be a private one. It will just be the family and close friends, people who grew up with George Floyd here in the 3rd Ward of Houston, and that the burial will take place and that he will be buried next to his mother. And one of the things that we have certainly got a sense of is that Houston was his home, and that people here want George to be remembered as a good man as they get ready to say goodbye, and they wrap their arms around his family tomorrow. Really poignant that he's going to be buried next to his mother, as we all saw as he called out to Mama as he was taking his last breaths. Okay, Marcus Moore, thank you so much.
And we should note that the Floyd funeral is tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We will, of course, have full coverage for you right here on ABC News Live.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.